Valerie, why are you sitting there? I don't recall inviting you. That's what she said to me when I attended Gwendolyn's wedding with a smirk on her face. Gwendolyn continued, "Get out of here, you unemployed underachiever. Do you want to embarrass me even more?" Her words extinguished any remaining goodwill I had for her. "Fine, I'll stay out of your life from now on," I declared as I left the venue. As I exited, a commotion broke out, and people rushed in, ignoring my pleas for help. I left the venue with Conrad. I'm Valerie, a freelance artist. Conrad, whom I married a few years ago, is currently away for work. One day, feeling a bit lonely, I received news that my mom back home had fallen down the stairs and fractured her leg. Though not a severe injury, she needed help until she recovered. The question was, who would provide that care? My dad had recently hurt his back and was using a walking stick, so he couldn't help. I thought my sister, Gwendolyn, who lives at home, could take care of mom, and then I'd help on weekends. However, Gwendolyn said, "It's just a fracture. She can walk. She doesn't need care." She's always been insensitive, never lending a helping hand, and often making thoughtless comments. I couldn't trust her to take care of mom, so I decided to move back home to care for mom while Conrad was away. My parents were thrilled, but Gwendolyn wasn't. "Why are you back? You're in the way." She'd glare at me every time we crossed paths in the kitchen or living room. Whether she's always seen me as an enemy or as jealous, I don't know, but dealing with her is a hassle, so I ignore her. Still, she continued to harass me. I took over the household chores for mom, but Gwendolyn complained about my cooking and even threw laundry into my room. Childish, but I said nothing. 2 weeks after I moved back home, Gwendolyn knocked on my door. I opened it, wondering what was so important. "Aren't you going to work?" "Work. You never leave the house except for shopping or the hospital. You're not working, are you?" I explained that I'm a freelance illustrator and work from my laptop. But she didn't get it. "So you're saying you draw pictures on your laptop and make money? That's no different from being an unemployed shut-in. Having an employed person in the house is the worst." She stormed back to her room, stomping her feet. A few days later, Gwendolyn said, "I want you to meet someone. Wait in the living room." We waited as instructed, and she brought in a tall, slender man with a hopeful face. The mole under his left eye seemed to highlight his hopeful appearance. "Nice to meet you all. I'm Rodney, Gwendolyn's fiancé. Thank you for making time for me today," the man said, extending his hand for a handshake. Caught off guard by the unexpected guest, my parents and I returned the greeting. We hadn't known Gwendolyn had a fiancé, and it seemed neither had our parents. We exchanged puzzled glances as we listened to their story. "I met Ronnie at work. He is a very sincere, capable, and wonderful person," Gwendolyn gushed. "Don't flatter me too much. You're making me blush," Ronnie chuckled. The two laughed and talked about how they met, what attracted them to each other, and what kind of life they planned to lead after marriage. Apparently, Rodney was drawn to Gwendolyn's outgoing and cheerful personality. The Gwendolyn I know is rebellious, self-centered, and lacking in empathy. I couldn't believe she was described as social. Is it really amazing? I really want to marry him. Please give us your blessing for our marriage. The two looked earnestly at my parents, waiting for their approval. From my perspective, Rodney seemed too good for Gwendolyn, so I had no objections to their marriage. My parents felt the same, though surprised by the sudden news. They smiled and seemed to give their blessing. After Rodney left, as I was cleaning up the tea and snacks, Gwendolyn spoke to me. "Jealous, aren't you, Valerie?" "Jealous of what?" "I'm marrying a wonderful, good-looking, high-earning man." "Something you could never pull off," I responded to Gwendolyn's smug, taunting smile. "I'm not jealous. I'm actually happy you found someone so wonderful." Her expression twisted, probably because she didn't get the reaction she was hoping for. She sighed dramatically and said, "The snacks you served, Rodney, you are so cheap. Couldn't you have prepared something more upscale?" "Oh, if you're unemployed, so you can't afford it." "If I knew you were bringing your fiancé, I would have prepared something appropriate." "Oh, you should have sensed it from my happy vibe lately. I really hate how you can't read a room." Looking at Gwendolyn, I wondered how long a marriage with her could last. I felt concerned for Rodney. That night, as usual, I called Conrad. It's a daily ritual. I get lonely easily, and hearing Conrad's voice helps me cope. I told him about Gwendolyn bringing her fiancé. "Wow, Gwendolyn has a fiancé. That's great news," he said. "Yes, his name is Rodney Bland. He seems too good for her, actually," I replied. As soon as I said that, Conrad's tone changed. "Wait, did you just say Rodney Bland?" "Yes, why? Is something wrong?" I asked. Conrad then accurately described Rodney's appearance, demeanor, and the mole under his left eye. As I expressed my surprise, Conrad continued in a serious tone. Valerie, you need to tell Gwendolyn to reconsider marrying Rodney. He's a scam artist. What? Are you serious? Rodney used to work under me, Conrad explained. He left the company a few years ago because he had been scamming multiple women out of their money and then disappearing. I've been searching for him but couldn't find him. I stopped myself from contacting the women who had been scammed. Let's be sure it's him first. I'll get a photo of Rodney from Gwendolyn and then you can confirm, all right? The next day, I asked Gwendolyn for a photo of Rodney, saying I'd draw a caricature for their welcome board. She complained but eventually gave me the photo. When Conrad saw it, he said, "That's definitely him, the scam artist Rodney. Convince her to reconsider before she loses any money." I was planning to do that anyway. Gwendolyn may dislike me, but as her sister, I want her to be happy. Still, as Gwendolyn's older sister, I think it's natural to want her to be happy. I immediately told Gwendolyn the truth about Rodney. She didn't believe me. "You're just jealous and trying to ruin my fiancé's reputation." "I'm not. Conrad told me about him. You should really reconsider. You won't be happy." I tried to persuade Gwendolyn almost every day, but she got angry and stopped talking to me. I even asked my parents to talk to her, but when she found out it was for me, she started harassing me more. She burst into my room yelling, "Get a job, you unemployed loser," or knocked loudly on my door to disrupt my work. My parents and I tried to warn them, but they didn't listen, saying it's the unemployed's fault for not working outside the home. When the neighbors complained, they stopped making a fuss, but they didn't stop harassing me. My patience and goodwill as her sister were gone. Some might say, "She's your only sister, you should try harder." But there's nothing more I can do for someone who won't listen and harasses me excessively. I gave up on convincing Gwendolyn and decided to consult with Conrad and my parents about taking action. On the wedding day, I brought a nominal wedding gift and headed to the venue. The venue was incredibly lavish, and the food was extravagant. Gwendolyn's friends and relatives were already there enjoying the feast. As I watched the food being brought out one after another, I suddenly noticed something. Not a single drink had been served to me, while my parents had a full-course meal in front of them. When I asked the staff, they said, "Please wait a moment, we'll check," and went away. After a while, Gwendolyn, dressed in a pure white wedding gown, walked over. The sound of her heels clicking, she said, "Valerie, why are you sitting there? I don't remember inviting you." Not just me, but my parents, the guests, and the staff all looked at Gwendolyn in surprise. The venue that was buzzing with activity just moments ago has now gone eerily silent, and whispers fill the air. Despite being the center of negative attention, Gwendolyn looks at me smugly. "You dare show up here after insulting my fiancé? I can't believe you. Oh, you're unemployed, so you probably don't even know when you're being rude." My parents, standing next to me, chime in, "Stop it, Gwendolyn. This is a wedding." Ignoring them, Gwendolyn continues to berate me. "How can I have a wedding if people find out my sister is unemployed? Just leave, you're embarrassing me." I let out a deep sigh and stand up. After exchanging glances with my concerned parents, I lock eyes with Gwendolyn. "Gwendolyn, I came here to celebrate your wedding as your sister, but clearly you don't want that. What a shame. I would have been happy to be blessed by someone unemployed like you. Just go. One last thing, are you sure you won't regret it if I leave? Because if I do, we're probably done as sisters." Cutting ties with an unemployed sister? That's perfect. Leave now. With that, any lingering affection I had for her vanished. I tell Gwendolyn, "Fine, we're done. Don't contact me again." I hear Gwendolyn arguing with our parents as I leave, but it's no longer my concern. I pull out my cell phone and call Conrad. "You can come in now. No need to hold back." "Got it," Conrad replies and calls out to someone. Soon after, a group of women who had been waiting outside rush into the venue. "Rodney Bland, bring him out." Their angry shouts and the gasps of the surprised guests reach the crescendo as Conrad and the women corner Rodney, who now looks visibly nervous. As they surround him, one of the women, evidently a victim of Rodney's scams, confronts him, her voice trembling with anger. "You thought you could escape, didn't you? Fooling innocent women with your lies and disappearing with their money. Well, not this time." Rodney stammers, attempting to deny the accusations, but the evidence against him is overwhelming. The other women join in, sharing their stories of how Rodney had deceived them, leaving a trail of broken hearts and financial ruin. The commotion draws the attention of the wedding guests, turning the once joyous occasion into a chaotic scene. Gwendolyn, still in her wedding gown, watches in disbelief as her dream wedding crumbles before her eyes. Conrad steps forward, revealing the information he gathered about Rodney's deceitful past. The truth unfolds, and Gwendolyn can no longer deny the harsh reality. She confronts Rodney, anger and humiliation etched on her face. "Is this true? Were you scamming these women?" she demands. Rodney, cornered and exposed, admits to his fraudulent actions. Gwendolyn, now facing the consequences of her hasty decisions, is left to pick up the pieces of her shattered wedding day. The guests, initially shocked, start to disperse, leaving the venue in disarray. In the midst of the chaos, Valerie stands on the sidelines, watching the drama unfold. She feels a mix of emotions: relief, sadness, and a hint of vindication. The events that transpired validate her concerns about Rodney, but the rift between her and Gwendolyn remains. As Gwendolyn grapples with the aftermath of the scandal, Valerie decides to distance herself further. She focuses on supporting her parents and helping them navigate the fallout. The experience serves as a stark reminder of the importance of trust and careful consideration in relationships. The story takes an unexpected turn as Valerie reflects on the lessons learned. Life after the wedding disaster brings both challenges and opportunities for growth. Valerie's resilience shines through as she embraces the support of those who truly care about her. The web story concludes with a reflection on the enduring strength of family bonds and the unpredictable nature of love and relationships. As Valerie moves forward, she carries the wisdom gained from this tumultuous chapter, ready to face whatever comes next in the unpredictable journey of life.